What's going on, Octo Nation? Today we are taking a look at Bill Ackman's SPAK PSTH and some more speculation that's been surrounding the internet. I think it's something to keep in mind. That way, if and when we do get the LOI, we might have a little bit better idea of why and when and where and how it might work out. A lot of this is coming from someone named PIXY on Twitter. He's a really good guy. You should follow him if you get a second. He said, I know that he said Stripe wasn't ready. So Bill Ackman has talked about some of the places that he wants to take to the stock market through his SPAK. And when asked about Stripe, he basically said that they're not ready yet. That means to me that he talked to him about it. You know, he knows them pretty well. And that could have been that very day he was just saying that. They're not really ready yet, but tomorrow they may have been. I don't know. Regardless, to me, that confirms that he has talked with them. He obviously knows the business, all that. It's something that maybe he won't. I mean, maybe this isn't the right time for them. Maybe it will be the next round. I don't know. I think that it would probably be a good point for them. It might be a good point for them right now. So I'm kind of with Bryce when he said, but I still think it's Stripe. So then there's some more dot connecting that's been happening, and that's what's kind of getting interesting. So he started following 3 Twitter accounts all recently, all continuously, 1, 2, 3, all from Stripe. Okay, so he started following 3 different accounts, and they're all Stripe people, 2 Stripe people, and then Stripe the business. Now, when I was looking, I went and looked at all the people he's following, and he's only following like Tesla, and that was like about it. Maybe like one other like really big boy company, but nothing in the realm of Stripe or not even Airbnb, none of the other stuff. So I don't know. That means something. There's also this chick that is on his board. Last name is Reses, and she recently left Stripe. She was like way high up in Stripe, and they are just growing and getting bigger. And she just resigned, and we haven't got a reason why. She hasn't come out and said why. So what Bryce is saying that it could be is a conflict of interest. That could be. I haven't had a chance to look through the whole SEC filing and read it, but it could be that, right? Because in a lot of SPACs, they say that we haven't talked to anyone, no one directly involved in the SPAC is directly in it, to any companies we might be bringing to the market. Some of them do mention that we might, but some of them don't. So I don't know. I still got to look into that. He said also that the timing with her stepping down from Square, I'm sorry, she was working for Square. From the time of her stepping down from Square and the Twitter follows just seem oddly correlated. And I kind of agree because it all basically happened, I think, within like last week-ish too, something like that. He said there has even been crazier connections. She's on the board of PSTH, and that's why there's the correlation with that. So she's on the board of PSTH and just recently stepped down from Square, a direct competitor to Stripe. So that's what it is. It was Square that she was working with and stepped down because they're a competitor with Stripe. So that would actually make maybe a little bit more sense, right? Because she doesn't want to. She knows what would happen, right? Like if you're working for Square and you're high up, and then you go get a job at PayPal, or you bring PayPal to the stock market or something. Square's gonna be like, "What are you doing, man? You're competing. You know, I don't know. You're competing. That's not good." So one of the dudes that he recently followed is this dude right here, Patrick Collison. He is the fabulous optimist Stripe CEO. Okay. And here's this Jacqueline Reses lady, right, that we were talking about that just stepped down from Square. So even on her Twitter, it currently still says leads Square capital and finance services at Square, mom all the time. There's a mother. That's kind of interesting. So these are the 3 that he recently started following. First was this Patrick Collins, which is the CEO. And then John Collison. Are these guys brothers? I don't know. One's a redhead, one's a dark-haired dude. They look like they could be. Anyways, this guy is the co-founder of Stripe. So he liked Patrick, the CEO, then the co-founder, and then the Stripe business itself. All recently. I don't know. Bill Ackman I think he's one of those guys that he might act like he does stuff on accident, but he's one of those guys that probably doesn't. You know? So again, this doesn't totally mean that he's going to be bringing Stripe, but I'd say if it's not this time around, it's probably on his next one. because he does. Again, look through the people he's following. He doesn't just do this. To me, he's doing this to hint. That's the type of guy he is. If you listen to him and the way he talks and about people and this overall look on everything, you'll maybe see what I'm saying a little bit better. But the lady's name was Jacqueline Reses that resigned, and that will actually take effect October 30th, when her full resignation will take effect. So I'd say because she's already officially stepped down, it could still announce before then. She, out of respect, might have told Mr. Ackman that she wants to wait, though, until after the 30th, which would be a pretty respectful thing to do, if you ask me. My theory on it, though, is that obviously I'm sure there is going to be some big money involved in this, right? Because for her to step down from Square at that position that was paying her big bucks, they might be rewriting a new SEC filing. So I think that's what we need to be looking for next. Like maybe they're going to say, oh, by the way, Jackie's going to get an extra 5% of PSTH. We can't tell you why, but we'll let you know soon. If something like that comes out, dude, I don't know, nail in the coffin. What do you think? So Reses was going to be the executive chairperson of the board of directors. So they were actually just moving her up too. So they were just moving her up at Square. I don't know why she's stepping down, and usually if it's something personal, like she said she's a mom, right? Like usually they'd come out right away, right? She'd come out and say, due to my want to spend more time with my family, I've decided to resign. Thanks for everybody, blah, blah, blah. But we haven't really heard much. So that kind of tells me something too. Something she's kind of like laying back, like she doesn't want to talk about it yet. She can't legally talk about it because it's SEC. I don't know. What do you think? So it's widely known that SEC and Bill have been talking, right? So on Seeking Alpha, they have an article that said, add Stripe to the companies Bill Ackman is interested in bringing public. Speaking to Bloomberg, Bill Ackman says he had discussions with Stripe, Airbnb, which I actually hope he doesn't go with, and others about going public via his SPAK vehicle, Purging Square Tontine Holdings. He describes the talks as get to know you and says they didn't get to the point of due diligence as opposed to Airbnb, which reportedly had filed for an IPO. Online payment processor Stripe likely isn't yet mature enough to go public via the traditional route. I don't know about all that was said. It seems pretty gray area and totally fluffed. Ackman said, and I quote, we did not discuss valuation and we didn't get too deep enough dive, frankly, to determine whether this is a business that we'd want to own and what price we'd like to own it at. That doesn't mean anything to me, okay, other than the fact, it almost sounds like to me that Ackman was baiting them. You know what baiting is? He came out and set the bait by saying that. And I remember past this, because this article came out September 3rd, so it's been a month and a half post this article. This could have been a bait. So he knew that Stripe would hear about him saying that. He was hoping they would call him and be like, all right, let's talk, man, you got me. Which is like the opposite of what Airbnb did, where Airbnb recently came out after Ackman talked to him and said, basically, we're too good for you guys. It's just not going to happen, which they should have, if you ask me, because they're hurting really bad. Ackman further says he'd be comfortable putting a deal together in 3-4 week time frame with a merger taking place within 60 days. So did you hear that? So, dude, that means by the end of the month. Because if this was September 3rd, what we have till November 3rd-ish, right? So that could match up exactly perfect to that ending date finalization of Mrs. Reses' October 30th full resignation date. That would be perfect timing. Wouldn't that be crazy if this happened like the day of elections in the United States? I think it'd be kind of trippy. Be one of the only things that just moons, or maybe everything will, who knows. So I was kind of looking up values compared to, let's say, Square. So 3.6 billion, or sorry, 36 billion is what the internet told me Stripe is about worth. All right. That, and then compared to, let's say, Square, which the internet told me is worth 55 billion. So it's not as big as Square, but it's still massive. A $36 billion company. This will be the biggest SPAK deal coming out. Can he afford it? Sure. You need 5, 6-ish times what your bank MERS is, and he could get there. Plus, again, you could always reschedule. You could always pull in more pipe if you need be, or you can always just restructure it and give only 4% or 2% or 7% or however you're going to work it out. And you got to add the 5% for the Reses chick because she quit just to be in this, right? Maybe she said, all right, Ackman, I'll quit. We're going to get this. I want to put my name on it, but then I want to be CEO of the next PSTH 2.0, right? So who knows what kind of deal they worked out. Regardless, if this does happen with Stripe alone at a $36 billion valuation, I'd say worst case scenario after some calculations that me and Bryce were actually putting out together, kind of bumping heads a little bit, it would bare minimum double at the what is it, $24 a share or something right now? Bare minimum double. Could 4x. Not a bad place to park some money if this might be it. This isn't an electronic vehicle, but this is big boy payment processing and stuff. So it'll be interesting. Did I miss anything else? Do you guys have anything else out there? Put it down in the comments. Let me know, and we'll talk about it next time. We're going to move on to a question we had about PIXY Shift. Y'all heard of PIXY Shift? Mohammed, this guy has helped us out a lot. He's helped out the channel a lot, so always like his stuff. Tell him he's cool. He is. He's done some due diligence for us, and I think he's made us some money, which is fantastic. He said, hey, will you take a look at them? I want to know if it's worthwhile. So PIXY Shift, what is it? As far as I can tell with my limited research and video watching, this is basically a company. So say I own Domino's here, all right? And I can't afford to bring on a full-time phone operator for Friday and Saturday nights when we're slammed. So instead of putting out a newspaper clipping and try to interview people and all that costs a lot of money for businesses. I have personally used a lot of clients like this for businesses and a lot of endeavors I've done, right? These hiring employees and people for even side help is extremely hard. When you're in a business and you're not owning it or in that part of it, it always seems easy, you can just hire more people, it's no big deal. But trust me when I say finding people is always almost the hardest part about a business, is creating the right team. Okay, what am I getting at? So this company here is hiring digital-ish employees. Okay, so people can make let's say a LinkedIn-ish profile, and you can go in and post a job and say, hey, I'm looking for someone to do phones for Domino's Friday, Saturday nights, and you can just pick them up and hire them digitally. You're going to end up paying a lot less by hiring them this way, as 1099 or however they structure it. But it's way easier, and it can happen like that, right? Where if you were to go try to hire someone for even phone sales or something, it could take you months to even find someone. Sometimes all money flows like this, right? A lot of times it's in a roller coaster. So a lot of times it could take weeks to even get a call. All of a sudden you get 10 phone calls one day, but it could take 2 weeks. But on this thing, you might be able to get someone like that because you have the power of the internet, which connects you to people all over the United States. So it's a decent play. My very first initial thing was, how come I have never heard of it? Because like I said, I've used many platforms like this, hiring people in the past for stuff, and I've never heard of Shift PIXY. That's my number one question. And then number two, what do they have that the other people don't? I couldn't find anything yet. I kind of like the look of the website and all that. I don't know. They got technology. I guess Taco Bell using Wingstop. That's great. But, they can get one little franchise and use them. That really doesn't mean too much. Then you look at the stock, and this is where it really freaks you out. So this thing was $1.32. And then at the beginning of the year before March, this thing just tanked, dude. Oh my gosh. All the way down to 60. Cutting a third almost. And now it's, where's it chilling? Keep going down there. $2.64. If you want a chart analysis on this, it just looks like, right away, it looks like the company's dying. It looks like it's on its last breath. It even gapped down the other day. Could you eventually make money on this? Yeah, if you could figure out how to gap it up. But the other problem is too, I don't know, like hiring digital employees right now is going to be a lot of the new norm, especially like phone sales and stuff. So it could get a slight boost from that, but why isn't it? Why isn't it already? I'm pretty sure the other companies are boosting a little bit, like even, I don't know, like Fiverr or Rabbit. What's the Rabbit one? I can't even remember it. There's like a Aaron Rabbit or something like that I've used. I'm pretty sure those are doing pretty well right now. Why aren't these guys? That's my question. So you're going to have to let me know more due diligence on this and diving into. Does anyone know anything else about this company? Have you done work with them before? How does it work? I'm pretty sure you just wire money and then it just bills them and it does all they maybe use Stripe in the middle. Maybe Stripe's the ones that connects it all. I don't know. Our Patreon said, hey buddy, any thoughts on OSS? Really like the balance sheet for a small company already working with huge names. Seems like revenue increases yearly. Maybe take a look for us. Thanks for your time. Have a wonderful day. You too, man. So I looked this thing up. Trends in high performance AI, artificial intelligence at the edge that all AI professionals need to know. One Stop Systems, OSS, designs, manufactures, and markets specialized high performance computing modules and systems targeting edge deployment. These specialized computers incorporate state-of-the-art components and allow our customers to offer high-end computing capabilities often embedded in their equipment. Here's my problem. I was looking at the videos and stuff here, and they're talking about the PCI bus, and I even saw they have like NVIDIA cards. It literally looks like to me they're building like custom computers for whatever, you know. So if you've got a robot you want to make, you need a custom computer, you might go to these guys. Or for automation, like building something, maybe like building cars or something, you'd get to these guys to make you a robot for it, or AI. They'll build you a custom computer, but what's proprietary about that is my big question. Kind of the same as last. The parts, again, they're using GPU expansion. I mean, these servers, big deal. These are all just normalized fans. You can go buy all this stuff on Newegg right now. That's my question. Storage, GPU network, okay, processor. So what's the deal? These guys, you know, like you said, it seems like they do have some big contracts, which is cool. A lot of business is that, right? Sales contracts. But why? What is protecting them from a bigger company like Dell, let's just say, or IBM, coming and just squashing these guys? That's what we need to figure out, because these guys might have something, but how could Dell not just whoop them, right? How could they not? That's what we got to figure out. I haven't figured that out yet, so if you know more information about that, let me know. Again, they're partnered with like NVIDIA and stuff like that. It's kind of a cool play. I mean, this is basically the middleman for a lot of EVs type of stuff too, I guess. But do we have any EVs we could brand tied to it and synergize with it? We need that. Let me know. Let's go look at the chart real quick. OSS. One Stop. How's the chart look? Looks like it's just chilling right in the middle. March down to $1.23. It's doubled since then. The volume looks really low. This is one of those, those ones that needs a catalyst, and we need to figure out what's going on. You could probably draw a line. It's sitting right in these gaps, With all the cool SPACs out right now, I just wouldn't touch it. It's too much risk. Why? There's if you want something cool and techy, man, there's lots of SPACs you can get, and the risk is almost zero. So that's kind of what I think. This could end up getting a big contract and moving, but other than its initial 1 year run of being around $6, this hasn't done very well. It's just been tanking and then consolidating for years. So I don't know. Let me know. Any big news coming out? Defika Williams said, hey, give me some penny stocks, Charlie. My view on penny stocks right now, the only ones I will touch are warrants. To get warrants, you've got to use a big boy broker like TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, all those. Get warrants for any of the stocks that we talk about. So your safest plays, you can predict them and play them like a fiddle if you just look at the chart for a second. That's what I would say on that. Maybe PPSI. Look at that. That one does pretty well. You can even look at my mining videos though too. Those are pretty darn easy to trade for penny stocks. Go look at my mining videos. I have probably like 5. There's tons of picks in there that you can get for cheap, and they're super volatile, and they can go super parabolic real fast, snap up fingers. So look at those mining videos, and then look at warrants for any of the SPACs that I've done videos on already. Darren Johnson said, hey, what's your thoughts on SPAK? I think, yeah, that's that SPAK ETF, right? Is that even out yet? Defiance Next Gen SPAC Derivative ETF. There it is. Yeah, so I'm sure everyone knows, a lot of people know what I'm going to say about this. It's not a SPAC. Okay? It's that's why it's cool. Okay, I love SPACs, right? I think they're really rad. I love SPACs because, you know, half of it's the chase, half of it's the wonder of what's coming. You know, open up the package of X-Men cards and you hope you get Wolverine, right? You hope you get Gambit. That's what you're kind of hoping for. SPACs are cool that way, so it gives me that I get a giddy feeling, but they're also cool because of the money, because you're super protected. The problem with this, it's not a SPAC. It doesn't have all the pluses that SPACs have. It has a slight cool factor, but not really, because the problem with this is they're pulling, I don't remember the percent, I want to say like 70 or 80% that make up this ETF are already LOI'd SPACs. So the funds out of it, it could do pretty well, you know. Where's it sitting though? I mean, for the chart, it looks like it's bottomed out, and it's tagged this definitely where it's chilling right now a couple times. Doesn't mean at all that this cannot dip down though, way down. Did they create a magical floor with this? Not that I know of. Did they? Let me know though. I mean, I could be totally wrong. Right when I heard ETF version, and then it's not, you know, why would I want to invest in that when I can invest in real SPACs? You know, that's the way I'm looking at this. Like, it's like buying I don't know. It's like buying a bicycle with no wheels. You can sit on it and ring the bell, but I don't get it, man. It's kind of cool because it's getting SPACs even more well known, and I think that's cool. And the more well known it gets, the more there will be, the more companies, dude, let's bring it. But I just don't like it's made of mostly past LOI SPACs. It'd be cool if it was like pre, like mostly pre, or they did a post and a pre. That might be a little bit cooler, because then I'd be into the pre, right? But then again, I'm pretty darn sure I would probably just get regular SPACs because it protects you and they're way easier to judge, and you can pick the exact teams. You know, what if on here they had 60% of the teams or businesses you're like, I'm not touching that category. So I like SPACs, so you can pick the team, pick the category they're going after. You believe in it, you know. That's what I think so far. Any other plays y'all want me to take a look at, put it in the comments. If you're not on our Patreon, please do it. I'm sliding you stuff when I get it. You know, I'm not going to bombard you with stuff all day unless it's something I think you're going to want to pay attention to. So I'm acting like the crocodile for y'all. Obviously, I can't catch everything, but I do slide you stuff when it need be. If you haven't subscribed, please do it. If you wouldn't mind sharing this with your friends, it'd be greatly appreciated. Y'all have a good rest of the night. Take care.